Hi everyone, it's Laura, and I hope you're all doing well. So today I wanted to give my opinion on intermittent fasting. So if you're interested, then keep watching. So intermittent fasting is the idea that you take breaks from eating. And there are different methods out there, different lengths of fasting, different types of fasting. But the whole idea is that it's more of an eating pattern rather than them telling you exactly what to eat. The only really diet advice that the majority of the people that promote this are doing is during your fasting break, you're either just consuming water or low calorie beverages. Like I said, there are different methods of this fasting. Some of them encourage a 16-hour fast every day, which means that everything you eat for that day should fit in an 8-hour window. Some encourage a full 24-hour fasting a couple times a week, which means you may fast from 8 a.m. one day to 8 a.m. the next, or 7 p.m. one day to 7 p.m. the next. Another type or method is doing a couple days or kind of flip-flopping very low calorie days to normal calorie days. And I actually had the benefit of attending a lecture this was when I lived up in Chicago, of a group of researchers who were conducting research on this idea of intermittent fasting. And their research found that even though on some days you consume very low calories, so if it's 500 calories, then it doesn't mean the next day you're going to overeat. So they found that people that fasted and they weren't making up for the calorie deficit. So this eating pattern promotes the idea of consuming a calorie deficit, so consuming less calories. And as a result, you'll lose weight and decrease your risk for various different disease states. Because there's been research out there for quite some time now talking about individuals that consume less live longer, and so they have a longer lifespan. So first I'm going to talk about, now that I've kind of discussed what intermittent fasting is, I'm going to talk about the benefits and then the downsides and then my take-home message. So in my opinion, some of the benefits of intermittent fasting are, one, it gets you thinking outside the box. It gets you kind of thinking, okay, maybe the way I've been eating, my eating pattern, isn't what best suits me. And it also allows you to be flexible. There are so many different types of methods, some of them which I just discussed in doing so. And I think because there isn't such a regimented of eat at 8, 12, and 6, it allows you to be creative. Because I think some of the downsides of these eating meal plans is that you don't take into account what works best for you. And I think the way that this is set up is, since it is so broad and there are so many options, then you're allowed to choose what works for you. Honestly, I probably do some type of intermittent fasting just by listening to my body. If I overeat one day, then I typically don't eat that much the next, and that's just by me listening to my body. And I think that is one of the downsides of this method, is I think it's a good way to start, and potentially it could help you start to listen to your body, just as long as you're not so regimented, just as long as you're not so OCD and so down to the brim of, I can't eat during this time no matter what. I think there is a point where it is important to be a little flexible, because I don't ever want intermittent fasting to cause a problem with you. And that's another downside, is if you have certain past medical history diagnosis like low blood pressure, diabetes, if you have any type of history of an eating disorder, then I would not do intermittent fasting. I don't think it would benefit you. But if you're someone who you're just wanting to try out a different way of eating and a different pattern, then maybe it's something to look into. Just like any of my other suggestions, I think it is something that if you are wanting to try it out, then you should make it your own and not do it, I know I say this all the time, but not do it just because someone else said it worked for them. So figuring out a method and a pattern that works for you. Also, since this eating pattern doesn't address the types of food you should consume, this is just my little blurb to start as fresh as possible, to consume wholesome plant-based foods and then go from there. that should be your basis. And just because one day you can inherently eat anything you want doesn't mean that you should consume junk and crap and just it be a quote-unquote cheat day or whatnot. You should still take care of your body. You should still consume fresh, raw, wholesome foods, primarily plant-based, and yeah. So my take-home message is, if this is something you're interested in doing, then do it how you want to do it. If you want to make your intermittent fasting, you don't eat for 15 hours of the day, so you eat from 9 until 6. I don't see anything wrong from eating until 9 to 6 and not eating outside that. However, I also feel that you should, as always, listen to your body and do what feels right. If on one day is a fasting day or a day where you're not eating that much and you're really hungry and you're feeling lightheaded and you don't have energy, then don't feel like you're stuck in this box, but do what feels right. So I hope this video helped y'all out. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I'm here. Also, I'm going to leave a link below for my book. It's all about consuming a plant-based diet. And I'm also available for meal planning and one-on-one counseling, so I'll leave the link below for that as well. I hope y'all are doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.